Welcome to Fear Ain't Fiction, where the stories are strange and the fear is real. All right, I'm gonna do it. I've been scared to share this for a long time, but here it is. It was Thanksgiving weekend, 2018. I was a college student living in Chicago, still in the dorms. My sister had her own off-campus apartment with a roommate, but for the holiday, her roommate had flown to Florida. So I figured I'd spend a long weekend with my sister. Now, if you've ever been to Chicago in late November, you know how heavy the sky feels. Low clouds, cold drizzle, that endless gray. And her neighborhood? It was going through gentrification. Most of the old buildings still sat half empty. Quiet streets, too quiet. You'd step off the L and it would just feel eerie. But the worst part was her apartment. The layout was narrow and long. 3 bedrooms, 1 small kitchen tucked down a winding hallway, 1 bathroom, and a little cozy living room. The place didn't get much sun. It was cold, dark, even in the day. Right away, I felt uneasy about the kitchen window. It looked out over the back deck and the alley. At night, there were no lights out there. If you looked through that window, all you'd see was your own reflection. But standing near it, I swear, it felt like someone was staring through the glass, watching me. So I avoided looking at it, but that heavy feeling, like eyes on you, it followed me everywhere. Even when I settled into the living room to sleep. That first night, I crashed on the futon in the living room. My sister's roommate had this little dog, and he stayed with me. Somewhere deep into the night, I woke up. The dog was at the foot of the futon, growling low, staring into the dark hallway. And then I heard it. C-R-E-A-K. Creak, creak. Heavy footsteps, slow, coming down the hallway. My heart dropped. I grabbed the closest thing I could, some random object off the floor, and crept halfway down the hall. Part of me knew no one was supposed to be there, but I had to look. When I reached the kitchen, nothing, no one. The footsteps had stopped. I tried to shake it off, went back to the futon, but an hour later, the dog started growling again and again. Creak, creak, heavy footsteps, slow, getting closer. That's when it hit me, like a flash in my mind. This vision, a tall man, long brown coat, baggy jeans, heavy boots, standing at the foot of my futon, glaring at me. And the anger, it radiated off him. He wanted to kill someone. That's the only way I can explain it. I snapped awake, but there was nothing in the room, just the dog, growling low. I sat up the rest of the night, too shaken to sleep. The next morning, my sister took the dog out for a walk. I stayed behind to tidy up, fold blankets, straighten the futon. She had locked both the back door and the glass storm door. I was in the living room when I heard it. Click, creak. The back door opened, then the glass door. I froze. No sound of the dog, no footsteps. I crept down the hall. Both doors were wide open. I looked outside. My sister was way down the alley, still walking the dog. I shut the doors, locked them tight, and glanced at the camera her roommate had mounted on top of the fridge. Later, we checked the footage. Both doors opening on their own. That's when my sister finally told me. Before she'd moved in, her roommate said a man had once lived there. A man who'd been shot by the police, bleeding, dying. He tried to run home, to that apartment, but it wasn't his place anymore. He collapsed in the doorway and died. I didn't know if the story was true, but after that night, I didn't doubt it. That evening, our last night, my sister camped out in the living room with me and the dog. I finally drifted off, only to be jolted awake when something hit me. A pillow with one of those hard decorative buttons smacked me right in the temple. I sat up, pissed, and looked at my sister. She was face down on the couch, arms tucked underneath her. There's no way she could have thrown it. The pillow was lying right next to me. In the morning, I had a bruise. That was it for me. I packed up. I couldn't stay there another night. I still don't know what to make of it. I've never experienced anything like that before, or since. But whatever was in that apartment, it wasn't just some bad vibe. It was angry, and I hope it stays there. You ever hear the saying, a cheap house usually comes with something extra? Yeah, this was one of those. Where I'm from, the ghetto's split by a golf course. One side, project housing. Other side, old homes built back in the 30s, 40s, some as late as the 90s. I ended up in one of those, a bright yellow tile 2-bedroom house, built in 1934. I was 26, living with my girlfriend at the time. The rent, $625. Couldn't beat it. I should have known. Started simple. We'd been living there for a couple months when my girl said she didn't like the hallway. Small space, with a crawl space in the ceiling. She'd get uneasy just walking through there. So I had my dad come check it out. Climbed up there with a flashlight, just insulation, nothing strange. Or so we thought. A couple weeks later, I'm crashed out, taking a nap, 2 hours or so. My girl's in the next room folding laundry. She comes in, shakes my shoulder. You been asleep this whole time? Yeah. You sure you didn't just walk down the hall? No, I've been right here. She swears she saw me walk past the hall just moments before. No one else in the house, just us. A year later, I was trying to quit smoking, looking for my vape, lost it somewhere. My buddy had been staying at my place for a couple weeks helping out. One night, I go out to the car, digging between the seat and the gear shift. Dead quiet outside. And then, clear as day, a voice, right in my left ear. There's that SOB, right there. Loud, angry, not a whisper, like someone leaning in close. I froze. No one was out there. Buddy was still inside. It was just me. And whatever said that. I sat there for a minute, heart pounding, before getting out and heading back inside. Told my buddy what happened. He just shrugged and said, probably the same person that calls my name at night. Turns out, for weeks, he'd been hearing someone say his name from behind him on the couch at night. A few months go by. One day, my mom comes to pick me up to go shopping. I'm standing in front of the hallway, throwing on a shirt. I ask her, hey, this good for today? She looks at me. Then her eyes go wide, past me, and she backs up. There was a black shadow, went up the wall behind you, into the room, she said. I'm thinking, great, now there's that. Later, I'm watching TV with my buddy. Suddenly, bang! We run into the kitchen. Every cabinet door is wide open. On the floor, one jar of Nutella and a fresh punch hole in the wall next to the fridge. No one had punched the wall, just there. More time passes. My buddy moves out. My girl and I break up. She's gone. I'm living there alone now. One night, I get in bed, fresh sheets, tight covers, lights off. Head hits the pillow. Then, pressure on both sides of my feet. Like two hands, one on each side, pressing down hard. I shot up, flicked the lights back on. Nothing there. Still, not moving out. Rent was too good. Then came the new girl. A couple weeks in, she starts seeing faces. In the hallway mirror, she'd ask, what's with this house? I'd just shrug. Weird things happen here. Nothing had ever tried to harm me. I stayed. But then, one night, I come home. She's on the porch, in the dark, refuses to go back inside. Said she wouldn't stay another night if I didn't move. I was in love, so we moved. Later, at the new place, I'm going through old laptop photos. I find videos of me, watching TV, walking through the house. Videos I never recorded, just 1-minute clips. Me on the couch, me leaving the bedroom, no one behind the camera, no one pressing record. They'd start and stop on their own. I went to the courthouse, looked up records. Turns out the old owner, a former town sheriff, had died there. Neighbors said the place used to be a brothel, red porch light and all. Rumors of a suicide, but no official record. could go on. So many weird nights in that old house, from 2009 to 2013. But honestly, rent was $625. Part of me wishes I'd never left. I don't tell this story much, not around my homies, not even my fam, but it happened in South L.A., and I still think about it every time I'm back on 108th Street. When I was about 15, me and my boys used to hang out late, skating, tagging, running the block, stupid stuff. One night, me, J-Rock, and Lil Ray were looking for a spot to chill and smoke. We didn't want to go back to my crib. Moms be tripping, and the alleys were hot with cops that week. That's when Ray says, "Yo, what about that old crib on 108, the one OG Smiley used to live in?" I knew the house. Everybody knew it. Smiley was a real one, OG from the hood back in the day. Where it was, he had like 5 bodies under his belt, mostly over turf wars and dope money. He got clipped outside his own spot, shot in the chest on the porch, died right there in the doorway. Since then, the house stayed empty. Nobody wanted it. Folks said it was cursed, but we were dumb kids. Didn't believe in none of that ghost stuff, so we went. It was about midnight. The block was dead quiet. The old house was all boarded up, but the back window was cracked open. We slid in. Inside, it smelled like old wood and dust, and something else, like iron, blood maybe. It was cold, way colder than outside. We set up in the old living room, passed the blunt, laughed it off, but after a while, it got weird. First, the sound, footsteps, heavy boots, coming from the back hall. We thought maybe a squatter. J-Rock grabs a bat we'd found in the corner. He calls out, "Yo, who there?" Silence. Then, a door slams in the back, hard. We jump up, ready to dip. But then, we see him, a figure, standing at the end of the hall. Big, broad shoulders, khaki pants, black hoodie. But the face was wrong. It was hollow, eyes like black pits, and the air, ice cold. He just stood there, staring us down. Then he stepped forward. Heavy boots. Thud, thud, thud. That's when Ray yells, "It's Smiley. Run!" We broke out the back window so fast I tore my shirt on the glass. Ran 3 blocks before we stopped. Later that night, we talked to one of the older heads from the block. Told him what we saw. He just nodded and said, "That house, you don't go there. OG Smiley, he ain't never left." To this day, that house still sits empty, boarded up. Kids still dare each other to go in. Some do. Some say they see the same thing. A dark figure, black eyes, heavy boots in the hall, but not me. I never went back. Every neighborhood has that one house, the house with the story, one everybody knows, but nobody really talks about. On my block in South L.A., that was the old place on East 54th Street. Before I was even born, somebody got murdered in there. Shot, execution style, inside the living room. It happened in the late 80s, back when the block was a lot rougher than it is now. After the murder, the house sat empty for a long time. People said it was haunted. The few folks who did move in over the years didn't stay long. One dude packed up in the middle of the night, left a whole couch and bed behind. Said he'd hear footsteps upstairs, even when he was the only one home. Another family swore they saw shadows moving in the hallway. Always around 3 in the morning. Word got around. That place ain't right. But time passed. The old neighbors moved out. New folks came in. Gentrification started creeping down the block. Developers flipping houses, rent going up. By the time I was about 20, the neighborhood was looking real different. And the old murder house? Some new people bought it. A group of 3 women, all young professionals, moved in. They had no idea about the history. You could tell they weren't from around here. They painted the outside, put up new lights on the porch, tried to make it feel fresh. For a while, everything seemed fine. But about a year after they moved in, it happened again. One of the women, her name was Dana, I think, She was found dead in the house, murdered, right there. Different decade, different people, same house. After that, the old heads on the block, they weren't surprised. That house always been cursed, my uncle told me. Bad blood don't wash out. And the thing is, even after all that, they never really fixed the vibe. The house stayed rented. Different folks come and go. But if you walk by late at night, especially around 2, 3 in the morning, sometimes you'll see the upstairs window light up, like someone's moving around up there. But nobody lives upstairs anymore. They closed it off after the last tenant. Some people say they hear voices, arguing. But when they call the landlord, no one's inside. Me, I don't walk past that house at night. Even now, full grown, across the street, because I know what that place is. And I ain't trying to be next. Inside, it smelled like old wood and dust, and something else, like iron, blood maybe. It was cold, way colder than outside. We set up in the old living room, passed the blunt, laughed it off, but after a while, it got weird. First, the sound, footsteps, heavy boots, coming from the back hall. We thought maybe a squatter. J-Rock grabs a bat we found in the corner. He calls out, "Yo, who there?" Silence. Then, a door slams in the back, hard. We jump up, ready to dip. But then, we see him, a figure, standing at the end of the hall. Big broad shoulders, khaki pants, black hoodie. But the face was wrong. It was hollow, eyes like black pits, and the air, ice cold. He just stood there, staring us down. Then he stepped forward, heavy boots, thud, thud, thud. That's when Ray yells, "It's Smiley, run!" We broke out the back window so fast I tore my shirt on the glass. Ran 3 blocks before we stopped. Later that night, talked to one of the older heads from the block, told him what we saw. He just nodded and said, "That house, you don't go there." OG Smiley, he ain't never left. To this day, that house still sits empty, boarded up. Kids still dare each other to go in. Some do. Some say they see the same thing. A dark figure, black eyes, heavy boots in the hall. But not me. I never went back.